A very good evening, horse racing fans, and welcome back to the channel. It has been a while since we've been back with some tips, but our latest ones did do pretty well indeed. It would have been a weekend or two ago now. I'm a Gambler 11-1. That one won by a short head, and noted that it had a decent gap between its last race. That's usually when it performs to its best, so it was very nice to get a winner on the board there. We also had Tis Marvellous in the Beverley Bullet at 7-2. It was nice to see him win back-to-back Beverley Bullets, and also Salsabila for Roger Vieri, and a little bit of inside info there, and that definitely paid dividends. So definitely do follow me on all channels. Hopefully we'll get some more winners on the board over the next couple of days, and as we head into Doncaster and head towards the St Ledger on Saturday. So plenty to come on the channel. Stay tuned and do subscribe to never miss a video. You can also follow me on Twitter, JoeMcCabe12345, and you'll see me posting opinions, tweets, tips, and all the rest of it over there. So do make sure to follow me on all channels. But we'll get into today's video, and it's going to be two from Catterick in Division 1 and 2 of the Get So Much More with Racing TV handicap. It's a Class 6, £7,000 up for grabs in both of the races, and I've got two pretty strong fancies considering it is quite weak racing. The racing have actually filled out quite nicely, I should say. It's split into two divisions. The first one's got 15 runners, and so has the second, so some very good field sizes. I know that has been a problem recently as well. So we'll start off in the 220, and the one I like is Obi Joe, trained by Tim Easterby. David Allen does the steering, as he does so often for the trainer, and this one's had a little bit of support already. I'm on at 10-1. This has been clipped into 9-1. Obi Joe drawn out of stall 3, and this is a horse that really does like the course and distance. It's won over 6 furlongs and 7 furlongs. I don't think it makes too much of a difference. I think he can operate just as effectively on both distances, and he's run well at Catterick before, especially when there's been a little bit of ease in the ground, which I expect at the back end of the year, as we are in September now. After all, the ground does get a little bit tacky, so even though they say it's good, it's always a little bit on the softer side. So I do like horses that act on the soft going at this time of the year, and his recent form doesn't read too nicely. He hasn't won since the 7th of September last year, and he won this race, the corresponding race last year, off a mark of 68. He comes into this year off a mark of 64, and his most recent run at Catterick wasn't too bad. I don't think. He was beaten into 5th behind Absolutely Dreamer, Richard Fahey trained horse, and that has run well since. I think the form of that race has worked out okay. Over the 7 furlongs again, and I think he's been dropped £1 for that performance, which isn't a lot, but it might just help. David Allen back on board, and this horse has been rated up as high as 77 in his career. He's still only a 6 years old. He's still not exactly regressing. He's been on a peak, maybe in a bad run of form, but he does perform well at the back end of the year, where some horses may be struggling from a long season. He really comes into his own, this Kodiak, son of Kodiak, and I think at an each way bet of 9-1, this could be a pretty solid bet for today's action. Next up in the 225, and my final tip of the day, just the two for today, is a horse that is drifting in the market, but I'm not too sure why. I think they've spotted one at a nice price. Min Till. Michael Easterby and Joanna Mason taking the ride, a combination who are pretty much banging form at the minute. I think the trainer's got 79% of horses running to form, a 20% strike rate in the last 14 days, so he's definitely a trainer to keep an eye on. And this one has the perfect draw in stall 1 and steps back up to 6 furlongs after a recent 7th at Ayr, which doesn't read too bad. I don't think. It was a similar strength as to that, but was held up and just couldn't get involved. And that was over 6 furlongs, as I said, being dropped £2. Joanna Mason back on board and up to 7 furlongs are all things that'll definitely suit. And this horse does actually have some decent form in novice races. If you look at the back end of last season, as a 2-year-old finished behind Dream Show, Charlie Hill's horse, that's now rated in the 80s, 86. That one has a rating of. In second that day was Golden Voice, the William Haggett horse. That's now rated in the 90s. 96 was his most recent run when finishing at Ascot. And of course, as 2-year-olds, horses go one way or the other. I just think the bare form stacks up better to be rated 71. He also ran pretty well on comeback and 3-year-old reappearance behind Kind Gesture. That was one of Roger Vaillant's horses. That's rated 90 as well. So he has been mixing it with some pretty decent horses. And I think the most recent run at Ayr had excuses, couldn't get involved up to 7 furlongs in a weaker race this time. Drawn Stall won. I think there's plenty of reasons. Plus, a little bit softer going should suit. I think his best run was at Redcar on soft going as well. That was at 200 to 1. So definitely wasn't expected to run huge, but ran well enough. So I think there's plenty of reasons why, for a banging form trainer, a very good jockey, this horse cannot be getting, maybe not off the mark at 16 to 1, but if you look at Sky Better going 5 places in this race, and there's a few other bookies going some juicy odds for juicy places as well, so do make sure to shop around. But Mint Hill at 16 to 1 in the 255 and Obijo in the 220, 9 to 1. They're just going to be 2 bets, and then we're going to be building up the pace throughout the week. I've bigged up my form quite a lot in the past week or so after a very good last couple of tips, so hopefully we can keep the form going, or even though I've said that it's probably going to go out the window and all downhill from here. But either way, the 2 horses at big enough prices, so hopefully we can have a bit of fun and land a little bit of profit along the way. Thanks a lot for watching. Subscribe, like, and of course comment with your best bets for the day, and I'll see you tomorrow as we build up to Doncaster.